And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the LPL here, broadcast in English on Twitch TV. I am Rapid. I'm being joined by our special guest, Kelsey Moser, and MVP for game number one. I think you saw this one coming, Kelsey. It's 6-1-12. It's going.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to argue, even with his impact on the rest of the map with his teleports and in terms of the 1v1 styling that he did. Going definitely deserved the MVP there. So it's really great to see him start to shine through. We've seen a lot of play from Cool, a lot of play from Drug, but it's just a good reminder that pretty much everyone on OMG is a very, very strong person in their role. So that's part of what makes them so dominant, and the fact that they're able to synergize very well together. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about LGD. What do we think they can do to come to take a second game here?
Well, we did see a relatively good performance from XQ there. He did have great positioning on his Tristana, and he was doing the best out of anyone on his team. So you can say that they had the potential. They were just like about 10 minutes behind by Going, who was just way too mobile out there on the map. And as strong as XQ might have been, there was a big sign of weakness from 17. Like he was behind Going every step of the way, and he just didn't have the same presence in teamfight, even considering that Going was much farther ahead. So I'm going to be looking for something more from 17 here in game 2, because Going completely outclassed him. And it's not just that they lost that one lane, it's that Going won top lane, and he won bottom lane, and he won teamfights too.
Yeah, and I want to say that I'm less hesitant to just criticize 17 and more hesitant to, and more likely to say there were two plays that really went in Going's favor, and that was the overextension in the bottom lane really early on, where they tried to pursue for a second kill, and it was turned by a good teleport. And the other one where they tried to pull one over on Going with the level disadvantage, and just it was really
I still have that playing back in my brain. I'm just watching it over and over again, and it's just so sad to watch that last extra turret shot kill off 17, and it just went from bad to worse.
Hashtag LPL big plays, everyone.
It's true.
But yeah, so I think that just it's a little bit unfortunate to say that LGD kind of lost everything based on those two engagements. They definitely made some more positioning mistakes as the game went on, but I think that those were the major problems, and they had some good plays, some nice teamfight engagements that could have gone a lot better if they weren't so far behind. So they'll be looking to maybe play a bit more cautiously early on, not poke the angry dragon as much. So
yeah, and honestly, like, do you ban Shyvana against Going? I don't think you do, because there's plenty of other options for him to go up in the top lane. His Shyvana was very strong and turned a lot of the ganks, but really that's just more good teleport timing. And like you were saying earlier, China is finally starting to catch on, and OMG kind of leading the field as far as knowing where, when, and how to pressure out on the map using that teleport spell. So Going, MVP of game number 1. We'll see if he can help his team out quite as much here as we come into game 2. Big changes, looking to see top lane, maybe 17 exerting a little bit more pressure out there, but for LGD, like, that early dive between turrets turned the game in a very bad way, so maybe a little bit too aggressive. Hanging back might be the way to go.
Right, and just in general, all around, OMG played a little bit sloppy, probably due to their lead. Maybe if they don't get as dominating a lead, they won't be as arrogant, but we'll see if they do. Maybe LGD can capitalize a little bit better. But we are getting into champion select, I believe.
Picks and bans coming up.
Waiting a little bit for the teams to connect, I think. And we have the Lulu coming out as the first ban, followed pretty quickly by Ziggs. So mid lane bans being focused, even despite Going's performance, because like you said, it's really hard to ban out Going, but just even more mid lane bans coming out. We've got the Yasuo banned. Cool, though he has a very wide champion pool, I haven't been impressed by his Yasuo very much at all, so it makes sense that that's a ban that they'd want to take. And since they don't think they can get Lee Sin twice in a row, they're gonna ban it, and LGD will ban Rengar to round out that
And
selection.
that's pretty smart to ban the Lee Sin. It's just too strong a champion, regardless of which jungler it's on. And this time it's actually going to be Going who picks up a first pick Gragas, and possibly Wayless looking for a Fizz. He's hovering over it, maybe just trying to send a message. But if you were talking about difficulty banning out the top laner, like, Cool is almost impossible to ban out. Like, that guy has a champion pool. It's almost like an ocean. And I know a lot of people say that about Zatai, but Cool's really been stepping it up. Consistently able to bring out things like Xerath and Zillion that may not be necessarily top tier picks, but are ones that he's been able to make work very, very well. So, interesting choice. No Fizz pick for LGD. They opt for the Evelyn jungle. And this is before they know what jungler they're going up against. So what do you think about Chuan picking that choice up so early?
In general, I think Trent is just looking for junglers that he thinks he can make early plays on, because that's generally what suits his style. Until the Evelyn changes come out in 4.13, we're going to see a much more proactive early game Evelyn that doesn't. So that's kind of what he's going for. The philosophy there, they're maybe trying to abuse some of OMG's slightly spotty ward coverage, because frankly they didn't have the best early game wards last game. So maybe that's what they're looking for with that pickup there. With Rengar banned, of course. So
yeah, exactly. So with Rengar out of the picture, Lee Sin's gone, you kind of go towards the next tier. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing a Jarvan here. I feel like that could work almost even better. But LGD, you don't pick Evelyn unless you have a lot of really cool things to do with her. So I'm really excited to see what LGD are going to make off of having a lot of invisible early pressure. There's not a whole lot you can do to take care of an Evelyn, and it sets up for probably some pretty cool plays. This time OMG actually will take the Tristana away from XQ, and they'll put it on Asan. So maybe this means that OMG are going to take a little bit of a step back from their over-aggression. But honestly, that's what we need to see from LGD. And they are picking some big playmakers in Lucian and Evelyn too.
And I'm excited to see Son on this Tristana. I was sort of expecting him to be the first person to pick her up when the 4.10 changes rolled around. He used to be known for a bit of a pocket Tristana pick there, and Cool gets his Twisted Fate. That's definitely a high-pressure champion that he's very, very powerful with. It was banned against him last game, so definitely something to look out for this game.
And I really like the TF pick versus an Evelyn. May not help pre-6, but post-6, if Evelyn just like randomly shows up into a lane, there is a chance that Cool can make it there in time to help him out. Of course, it'll also reveal Evelyn, take her out of stealth anywhere on the map when he does use the ultimate, but I don't know. Usually you pick the Twisted Fate versus lanes that have a lot of like really hard CC, so that you can throw down like well, an example would be like a Taric stun. You'll never see Taric again in lane, but it's still the idea. Maybe setting up for like Going's casks. It's just a lot of, like you said, global pressure, and it is one of Cool's scariest champions. Like, it's been banned against him a lot, and while he may not be the second coming of Messiah, he still makes TF look good.
And in response, Wayless picks up that Zed. Wayless also likes to move around the map, make a lot of plays happen with these assassin champions, so maybe he's hoping to either outplay Cool in his rooms or catch up with him quickly with that high mobility Zed there. So interesting picks going on both sides. I think both sides are probably very comfortable with the champions they picked up, and the compositions that they're going to be able to roll out with. XQ picking up the Lucian, another champion that he's played very effectively. So they'll probably look to shut down that Tristana early. We'll see how, because they had a pretty poor early game start last game, so looking to rectify the situation.
Yeah, we'll see which team puts the Rect in Rectify as we hop in here to game number 2. Should be coming your way in just a minute. But before then, we are going to take a quick little break. I'm actually going to grab a little bit of a drink because my throat's killing me, and I know that's probably something we have in common. So I'll be back in about 20 seconds with game number 2.
So while Rapid is dealing with his throat, we will get onto the Rift here. Let's see immediately what there are some things going down from LGD Gaming to set down some protection for their jungle entrances. Probably put some wards down there. Standard, pretty standard itemization starts. Again, PYL's we have a Doran's Shield start for PYL, a longsword start in the mid lane for Wayless. We've got a fair amount of potions, things like that. Looks like both sides are starting with an early sweeper. OMG may be picking up an idea after the early altercation from the last game. Trying to get some vision control of that bottom lane, which will probably be a target going forward.
And one big change that we saw, you mentioned the Doran Shields start out there. Previous Zed performance we saw in our first game of the night actually resulted in a Doran's Shield start for Zed. So very different. Not even going for a Doran's item, just picking up 3 health potions and a longsword. And then of course that'll be going up against Cool, who should have the early harass advantage, but he'll lose that once Zed comes back from base with probably a brutalizer.
Yeah, and in general, the lane matchup versus a Twisted Fate as a Zed player isn't as threatening. Typically, Twisted Fates like to just shove out the lane and go for some roaming. So he's not really expecting an altercation, so the extra health from the Doran's Shield just wouldn't be as useful here at all.
Now, LGD are going for a somewhat late red invade, but they walk right over a ward, so it's not really even a mystery. If Chuen had gone for this on his own, of course it would have been a lot sneakier, but probably would have lost a lot of his health there too. XQ and PYL will rotate down towards the bottom lane, and that means once again for, I think, every game tonight we've seen, just I think 3 out of 4 of the games tonight, it's been standard lane matchups across the board. Wait, Chuen is going for the level 2 gank. Oh my gosh, the red buff level 2 gank, cheese. And it's going to be the death sentence on to Cloud, pulling him in there. He's been ignited. It's going to be the flash hit in Chuen with the level 2 red buff steal cheese gank. Like, OMG knew he was there, but he's still able to pick up first blood for LGD.
Yeah, definitely very, like we mentioned, they want to get a much better start off this game. They're abusing the fact that Evelyn has that stealth, but I'm more impressed by the fact that she's still able to get 2 buffs after that engagement. Drug starting out, just slowly farming, trying to pick up the advantage there, and didn't capitalize on the movement, didn't make any movement, but of course, getting to that other side of the map is going to be difficult from his position. Chuen's still trying to get something in the mid lane.
Oh, they are going to go in. They get the slowdown on a Cool. Instant flash back to turret. If Cool had stunned Chuen right there, might could have taken him down under turret. But, oh, Drug is actually looking for the dive up here. Going, takes the turret shot. And 17 is actually very, very low. He flashes very early on. But this should actually completely avoid the gank because there's no more repel for Drug. So, a flash blown, but still 17 survives. And now Chuen is actually all the way up top lane. Drops a ward so he is visible. But, good job by Drug to clear it out with a very early sweeping lens.
And it looks like they're just going to go back to maybe farming it out. Chuen getting some wraiths, some delicious wraiths here for himself. We've got bottom lane pushed up very far with that advantage that they have now. Or no, excuse me, disadvantage. I clearly screwed that up. OMG is just pushing out, shoving in, trying to make sure that LGD isn't looking for the minion advantage to get on top of them with that strategy.
Right, it's not a mystery where either jungler is right now. They both scattered each other top lane, and so Wayless has to play this. He's going to get stunned out here. Will the cocoon hit? No, he's out of range already. He actually trades a bunch of damage back onto Drug, so making him pay for coming in for the gank. And, oh, Chuen right there, watching Drug walk away. And he actually might try to counter gank this lane just based off of some overconfidence from Cool. But you have to be careful here. Chuen has a lot of early damage, but he hasn't been back to base to buy yet. So he's not going to be utilizing that early power spike just yet.
This game seems to feature a lot more posturing from the junglers. They seem to constantly know where the other is. They're following each other around the map, trying to fake the other out, looking for counter-ganking opportunities. So it's an interesting way to play. I think Drug might be getting a little bit of an advantage on that since he seems to be continuing to farm, but their farm scores are very close, so...
Yeah, both junglers, it's really kind of like a chess game with them both sort of moving their pieces around the middle lane, just trying for any sort of an advantage, but Cool doing a great job at playing incredibly passively. Oh, Wayless even goes in for the extra auto and kind of fakes Cool out. Cool very low on mana, can't really trade. He's going to have to head back to base here, and that will leave Drug to stay there in the mid lane and keep it healthy. Daz Stenon's in the bottom lane though, on to San, pulls him back in, forced the rocket jump back away, but lost half his health.
And it looks like both top laners are actually just burning their teleports to get back to lane to not avoid. I'm a little bit curious about GoGoing's use of teleports since I think he could have walked back pretty safely.
He's got body slam too, so that would have been pretty easy.
A little bit of an altercation in the bottom lane.
Yeah, the pull back in onto San sets up for a little bit of extra damage, but nice bubble there onto XQ. A little bit of a glitch there for me. Exhaust is actually down from PYL. San forced to use that summoner heal. He actually didn't have to use it, but better safe than sorry. So he stays alive, but just PYL and XQ really putting on the pressure just off of that early gank. They got shoved in, and now they're shoving back, and this time they have a very solid health and damage lead. And plus Chuan coming down from behind, and oh, you can see immediately the TF ultimate knows it's not safe to gank bottom because Evelyn's right there waiting.
You have to look at how much respect they're giving Cool. Even despite the fact that San and Cloud were such low HP, as soon as they saw that Destiny Gate light up, they backed off. Even though they probably could have taken like the 3v3 very effectively there, they were just really afraid of that Twisted Fate pick, it seems.
And now, oh, Drug fighting Chuan for the red buff, and he'll get the smite away. Chuan didn't even smite in time, so he walked back somewhat dejected. A red buff in the hands of Drug.
Let's take off. This is definitely a much slower game, which we sort of guessed would happen. The advantages that we're seeing are coming in the bottom lane for XQ, and in the jungle, OMGs. Drug is picking up a little bit of a farm advantage, but Chuan has that early first blood, so still a very close game from that perspective as well.
Explosive Cask used up in the top lane there by Going, and he'll just trade ult for ult, so that does limit the effectiveness of both top laners, but I think Going's pretty much fine with this one. He won a few trades ahead of time, and we'll just trade those back for the ultimate. Like you said, a little bit more of a passive trip for both teams, and while San does have that Tristana, and it does scale very, very well, I remember in a famous guide that Messiah made, he said that the first 2 to 3 ults that you use as Twisted Fate really define not only the early half of the game, but really the level of effectiveness that you're going to have for the entire game. And Cool hasn't really done a whole lot. He did ult once, but saw that Chuan was down there, so he didn't go. So really looking for where exactly Cool is going to be setting up this pressure. Maybe blowing 17's ult sets him up for a little bit of a vulnerability to Dive's top lane. But at that point, you're still diving a Dr. Mundo, which is probably not something that's high on Cool's list.
Right, and I think he'll be looking for some sort of power spike for San's Tristana before he goes bottom. Maybe a BF sword or the next part of the Infinity Edge. Maybe if San just goes for that pickaxe and then immediately the Zeal, as we've been seeing a lot of Tristanas do, that'll be enough of a small little power spike to go for. But XQ just coming back with a BF sword, and that lane is becoming a lot more dangerous.
And especially, we were talking about how Cool's not getting too many opportunities to roam. Well, Wayless may be looking for one. Oh, flash out from Cool. And a great roam from PYL. And it's somewhat of an irony. It is the supports that are currently out roaming the mid laners. Nice gank by PYL.
Yeah, and with these 4.11 changes, we expected a little bit, some fewer gank roams from the supports. But because this is such a slow game, they're able to just try to make things happen around the map without having to worry too much about their AD carries.
Well, and it was very well timed as San and Cloud had just gone back to base, so there wasn't a whole lot of pressure on XQ, who had been putting on the pressure the entire time. And again, San is going to return to lane with Berserker Greaves, takes half his health in culling damage, and still doesn't have any form of lifesteal other than just the 3% from that Doran's blade. So this is really strong bottom lane performance from LGD just off of that early gank. So while the game has been passive, that advantage has stuck around. Flashing the Baron wall instead of going for the body slam. I think it was actually on cooldown, yeah, so he wouldn't have been able to get over. Death Mark though onto Drug or onto Wayless there. Drug is there, but oh, Wayless is gonna go down. Cool snipes him out there at the very end. Drug going down as well. So it trades out 1 for 1. But it is a trade back with Cool grabbing that blue buff and a pretty cool kill for himself as well.
Looks like LGD is trying to make some pressure in the bottom lane, maybe look for a play that they can pick Dragon up off. They're going to get some vision down, but OMG knows they're there.
17 could have come down and just ulted to tank up the dragon, but right now they're actually going for a 2-man dragon, level 7 and level 6, Xuan and PYL. Probably will be able to take it down. You can see, a little bit of mispositioning there from XQ. He's trying to come join his team, but there is the tidal wave. They dodge away from it. The death sentence misses from PYL. Xuan is very, very low, and he'll go down. He actually does smite the dragon there with his dying breath, but Cool is going to go in behind enemy lines, takes out XQ. And we got one reset there for San, but can't find any more. 17, just not a big enough presence there in that fight. It is a 3-4-0 favor of OMG.
It was smart of LGD to try to make something happen, taking advantage of Drug being back at base. But there were still wards, still vision on Dragon. OMG was still aware of what was going on, and instead of just passively giving up objective like we see a lot of teams do, they went to try to get some kills or make something happen. And ultimately, they won out in that trade. They got a little bit more gold off of it than the global objective gave LGD Gaming, so a smart decision.
And nice to see Cool making use of his ultimate very, very well that time to go over the wall, find the kill onto XQ, and weren't able to find anything off the back of that, but still a nice just team fight around the dragon. Beautiful smite though by Xuan. He actually wound up getting the dragon the second before he died, so even though OMG won the team fight, it's still the global XP and gold from that dragon going to LGD.
Right, and crucially though, it's important that San managed to get a kill in that fight, so if we want to see that late game Tristana, that's something important. LGD in response are aggressively pushing this bottom lane turret. They want to shove San back. They want to take advantage of XQ's goal item advantage at the moment, since San still just has some crit damage coming out, the Berserkers, and the pickaxe, so...
A really weird build here for San. He's really prioritizing critical strike chance, like he wants to go for the Phantom Dancer, which is even weird still because we're so used to seeing Tristana's pick up very early static shivs instead of Phantom Dancers. And I guess he could still go for the shiv into eye edge, but Drug over the wall there, Wayless as well, goes for the death mark to dodge away from Cool's damage. The gold card's right there, and there's Xuan, he's coming in there. Drug will fall, but XQ's right behind. Cool can land all the gold cards he wants. He's not getting out of this one. LGD find the roam, and a 2-for-1 exchange.
San just going for some of the cheese. But more engagements coming out.
Yeah, and it does look like a little bit over-aggressive there from XQ, but a perfect hook in there on Nami. PYL's going fishing, and he hooked a big one in there. Grabs another kill out there for LGD, turning this back into an even game, 5-5. Send it up.
So yeah, I think the strengths of both of these teams, as is evident here, is that they're both pretty strategically intelligent for Chinese teams. They're able to react well to poor decisions made by the enemy team. They're able to prioritize the correct objectives. They know that with dragging down, mid lane turret is going to be the next #1 priority objective. They know to place wards in certain situations, they might not have as good of vision control even as in the last game we saw with World Elite Academy and Starhorn World Club, but they know to make plays off of the vision that they have. So that's something that both teams they're sort of playing a chess game right now, where we usually see Chinese teams kind of smash their faces into each other and see what happens.
Well, and especially to highlight that, you said both of these teams like very strategically advanced. I feel like the only thing setting LGD a little bit far behind has been their execution. Some bad dives there in game number 1. Jumping way over the wall. Sands going downtown on Nuelas. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and he gets taken out. And Going's actually going to go for the a lot of harass, might be able to find a kill here on a Dr. Mundo. He's trying to cut him off at the pass, but 17 will use the move speed from his ult to make it back to the turret in time. Going. Winning his lane. Taking down the first turret of the game for OMG.
And LGD here reacting to the presence of OMG in bottom and top, but there's an engage.
Yeah, this is a little bit of an attempted engaged mid. Cloud still in a rough spot. Is Chuen actually going to use a lot of pressure here, but he's in a 1v3 no matter how much you call. XQ is not going to be able to save his life. It's a 1-for-1 in exchange as both junglers go down, but man, how hard can XQ carry this game? He's got double buffs and he's been running around the map trying to make these big plays, and he'll probably be able to take down the second turret mid for LGD. He's trying to carry this game out, but it is a very... Oh, flash from PYL. Holy cow, I didn't see that one coming, but nice counter flash from Cool. Keeps him alive. Middle turret not quite so lucky.
Wireless gonna roam down bottom here to try to shove out the waves, make sure all the waves are pushing in LGD's favor. This is something that they want to set up if they want to continue to siege down some of these turrets. OMG going back to spend some of the gold that they got off of the recent skirmishes and the turret going down. So
now, after game number 1, you can never fault Going for his decision-making skills, but he finishes first item Lichbane Gragas. Like, I don't think that's ever been done before. Like, why do you go Lichbane first item on Gragas versus a Dr. Mundo who's just completed Spirit Visage? Like, is the harass that significant to avoid more traditional items like Rod of Ages? We'll answer that question in a brief moment. Wayless going super hard onto San. He will hit the G key and go back out to his original Shadow, but it's going to take one more auto attack, and it's actually San that picks up the kill. Perfect ult there from Cool to counter out Wayless's over-aggression. But in the response, LGD trying for a dragon. Tidal Wave's going in. Who gets the smite? And it's Chuen again. The teleport bottom lane. Will it be in time? The answer is yes. 17 right there, and Going's going to go down. The stun card out there, forcing the flash out of 17. He's just barely out of range. Throws the cleaver back, and the stun lands onto XQ. Trying to get back there. Chuen actually will fall, and it's a massacre as LGD just dying right and left. OMG. Counter the dragon. Pick up the kills.
Yeah, in a very similar situation to what happened before. LGD reacting to presence from OMG in other places, going for the dragon, but OMG able to catch up, trying to make some plays, get something off of it. Drug not able to was at least in position to contest at this time, but wasn't able to get the smite off. Chuen, very good smiting this game so far. Pretty impressive control of the dragon. So LGD aren't as far behind as they were before. Actually, pretty close in gold right now. They're getting it mostly off of these objectives, even when OMG is able to get some kills and answer.
But you gotta look at where those kills are. Like, San and Cool are ridiculous now. And off of all those weird early item buys from Zan, he's gelled them together into his Infinity Edge. And while he may be a little bit behind XQ in items, the bigger discrepancy is in the mid lane. Cool and Wayless very far apart. But look at that Lichbane burst onto 17. I didn't know. But Going knew what he needed to buy. Damage. And comboing that up with Drug will lead them to their 11th kill. 7-11 in kills in favor of OMG.
Yeah, and we see Dr. Mundo picked actually a lot as a counter to Gragas, but Going trying to rush some of that auto attack damage in response to maybe the massive health deficit that advantage that Dr. Mundo uses to counter some of that Gragas percent health. So very useful.
Yeah, that is actually really weird. I don't think I'll necessarily be going Lichbane first on my Gragas, but that just highlights the very burnout difference from my top lane Gragas play and Goings, who is looking incredible this game. He's only 0-1-4, but he's been really, really helping out. Once again, this time he's sharing the kills instead of taking them all for himself like he did in game 1.
Yeah, and even after he got that massive 6-kill lead last game, though, he didn't pick up any kills after that, and instead was that big brother going that people call him, and spread the wealth.
It's true. Share the love across the board. But, like you mentioned, LGD is still actually doing very, very well, although Wayless continues to overcommit onto San. Attempts the 1v1 over and over again, but just can't find it. Talking about being a big brother, Cool has got San's back and has the TP's bottom whenever he needs it.
And look, we see the ward coverage advantage starting to emerge for OMG a little bit, though the few wards that LGD does have are around the Baron area, so that will be an advantage to them going forward, if they can make something happen in this top lane.
Now, Going's trying to go in because he's got the rest of his team at his back. He will take a lot of damage here and will go down in the end. Use it here, but he does have to make sure he finds a good position here. Gold card out from Cool, and it's not even close. A 1 for 1 exchange. A little bit more even than I expected it to be. 17 in PYL. Back away because they know what's coming. A nice team fight engaged there by OMG to turn that dive around.
And you saw the cocoon kind of coming out at the end just to make sure XQ was dead there.
Just had to make sure. It's like they don't want any like zombie AD carries. They killed him. They made sure he died.
But also very intelligent response by the rest of OMG. They didn't have all of them up to the top, and they instead sent Son to take the mid-tier turret.
And that's actually really, really smart, making sure... Oh, Chuen now gonna get surprise! Gold card from Cool, gonna lock him down. And now another gold card onto Wayless. This chain CC is just ridiculous. OMG. Find 2 picks, and they're headed to Baron.
I don't know necessarily about this Baron call, because it is still very early, and there's still members of LGD left that could easily whittle down some of their health in this pit, which we see with that culling coming out. Yeah, they might want to disengage here. Cloud throws out.
It does look... Oh, if there's 17 actually the one to start the fight. Cloud very, very low, and he does finally fall. This could actually be disastrous for OMG, as Drug in the back line, though, he is going to find some kills for himself. XQ goes down to Cool, and it's just bunny hops for Sans. Hopscotch, his favorite game, and he is going to be winning that one, and probably this game of League of Legends as well, if the score is any reflection. 18-9, and what turned the team fight around for OMG? Because it looked like LGD might have caught them.
So yeah, really it was really down to whether or not OMG saw that Baron as primarily a bait tool, or they were just going to really commit to it. And as soon as LGD appeared, they did peel off from it a little bit, and they were able to turn on LGD and get those kills, and the Baron was melted fast enough that they were also able to secure that Baron. So probably initially used as a bait tool, since they reacted very well to LGD's presence, but still they picked up the Baron on top of it and were able to pick up a very handy lead there.
Off the back of that, LGD try for a global objective of their own, but they just can't make it happen. Death Sentence, though, it will land on a Cool, pulls him into the box, but it's PYL not getting any peel for himself there. He's the one to do it for the rest of his team. They'll keep LGD alive, but OMG, they're the one to pick up the Dragon, the Baron, and just about every buff in the game. They are going on there. Once again, a necessity for the rainbow buff that I am pushing for Riot to add to the game. When you pick up red, blue, and purple, just make sure it makes sense to combine them all together. Plus, you look fabulous, so one advantage to being this far ahead.
But only Taric looks fabulous.
Oh, that is true. Dude, I want to see Taric back in the meta so badly, but he's just like it's such a horrible concept for the champions. Like, he has a click stun that We've nerfed 5 times in a row. It used to get extra damage, extra stun duration, extra everything, and now it literally does nothing. So, no more Fabulous down there in the support role. But, I mean, you can talk about Cloud. He's looking pretty fabulous at 0-3 and 13. Only missing out on participation for 6 of OMG's kills.
Yeah, and he's had very excellent tidal waves. We talked a little bit in these casts about how it's really rare to find a Chinese support who understands disengage, and I feel like Cloud is proving to be one of the few who does so.
Well, and especially with Nami, too. Chinese players landing Nami ults has been something that we've teased them about for a long time. But landing bubbles, too. PYL gets locked up again. This time it's Cool landing his 9th kill of the game. 9, 1, and 8. He's actually been involved in more kills than Cloud has, picking up his 17th kill participation of the game.
And we have commended both of these teams for some of their understanding of strategy, but OMG's just ability to divide and conquer the map is really showing through in this game.
Oh, look at even Drug chunking Wayless down to below half health. XQ is forced to just barely use his culling to clear out the mid wave, and it's not even going to be that effective because OMG are at the level where they can just tank whatever turret they want to. Going, even though he's built, I feel like Going is like the AP Renekton, because even though he's built nothing but damage item, he's still ridiculously tanky.
Yeah, that's probably why we've started to see a lot more AP Gragas's come out, just because he gets so many free tank stats just by being Gragas. So
it's like, I'm tanky, I deal a ton of damage, I am either Renekton or Gragas, so probably going to see a lot of those out there. And I mean, Shyvana has the same effect too, but you won't see a whole lot of full damage Shyvanas out there, just because she doesn't really scale all that well with anything but like a Blade of the Rune King. So, pushing intensifies in the mid lane for OMG is Cool's probably gonna like half health this turret off of 1 auto attack if he gets that stack deck on there, and with the turret already down to half health, shouldn't be staying alive very much longer.
Yeah, and it looks like LGD is trying to make a flank attempt, but OMG probably will get this tower.
Yeah, 17 just way overextended, and I think he overestimated his tankiness just a little bit. But in the bottom lane though, Cool just dumpsters XQ, TP's right on top of him, locks him down, and takes him to 33-second death timer. Heading back to base the hard way. Drug will eventually take down the middle inhibitor, and OMG just breached the base, and Cool especially. He dodges away from the death sentence, flashing, and there's a gold card onto Chuen. Can Going find the damage. Holy cow! What was that damage? I don't know where Going got that from, but he got it on to Chuen. That's like the worst grammar I could possibly think of using, but it is indicative of the level of damage OMG are putting out right now. They're pushing in for what was initially just an inhibitor. It's turning into the game right now. XQ's got the culling to try to trade out, but minions block most of the damage, and now 17 again gets blown away as XQ is forced back to the base deliberately. San ulting him back that direction. One Nexus turret is all that stands between OMG and the win. Cool gets him a KOs, he gets the death sentence, gets pulled into the box, and finally taken down by PYL, but at what cost? We're gonna see Wayless able to pick up another kill there, and Going, can he turn this one around? Death marks down, and so is Going. And after overstaying their lead just a little bit too long, OMG are finally pushed out of LGD's base.
Let's see if Cloud can get away here, his great escape. He's using his abilities to proc his passive here and get some speed. Oh, his ultimate comes back up. Looks like...
Oh, where is he going to throw it out there? And a perfect tidal wave there. Gets the slow off onto it. And Cloud should, for all intents and purposes, be fine. But he does want to keep the bait alive and make sure that LGD has as few people in their base as possible. So, does make it out. Nami, probably the best bait. But, unless they come out with like a worm champion. And then I think that champion would be even better.
OMG again getting a little slap happy, maybe a little punchy with their lead, staying a little too long in the base, trying to pick up a lot of kills, pressuring the towers when it would have been safer to back off, but because they do again have such a monstrous lead, they're able to do that and get away with it. And then Cloud actually managed to, I don't know why they continued to chase him so hard, considering they could have maybe gotten something off of it. Tried to go for a Baron
Wait,
Rush
what?
or something.
Holy cool! What did you just do there? He just ults randomly to see where everybody is, finds Xuan at low health, and just ults right on top of him. And now San's going out on the waylist. You have an AD carry jumping an assassin, and San should actually die from this one. Yes, okay, so waylist does get the kill for San, kind of pulling a UZI assassin. He pays for it, but LGD might pay with the game. PYL misses his death sentence, but something tells me he's going to get another one in return. Explosive casket, long range from Going. Finds himself one. Guardian Angel is popped there as Drug respawns alive and well. And OMG finally at long last take down the Nexus. And a Golden Gragas to finish the game for Going. The very dominant win. OMG with a 2-0 over LGD.
And we say it finally takes the game, but that was only a 30-minute game given like how much downtime we had. It felt a little bit long, but it was just a lot to do with OMG, I think, calculating, looking for LGD to make a mistake, looking for objectives they could capitalize upon. LGD had a little bit of a leg going forward, definitely seemed to have turned around their early game strategy, but at the expense of some of their late game control. So if they can get both of those things firing on all cylinders, LGD definitely look to be a threatening force, perhaps in the next LPL split. But for now, they're still staying at the bottom of the table, and OMG looking extremely dominant.
Yeah, LGD will take on Invictus Gaming and World Elite Academy face off against EDG. We'll have those games coming your way tomorrow at 1600 China time, same time if you guys were here for the first series tonight. Do want to thank you all for watching the LPL in English here live on Twitch TV. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to check us out more, make sure to follow at LPL Live on Twitter and just use the hashtag LPL. We'd love to hear what you thought about tonight's games. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you back here tomorrow. Have a great night, and we'll see you then.